Across America, $2,500 rent, 7% mortgage rates, and homes no one can afford. Sound like a crisis? It's already happening, and some states are feeling the heat more than others. From ghost neighborhoods to exploding foreclosures, the warning signs are everywhere. Could your state be next on the chopping block? Are sky-high taxes and stalled wages setting the stage for a housing meltdown in 2025? This isn't just another market slowdown. This is the pressure cooker moment. In this video, we're counting down the 10 U.S. states where the housing crisis will hit hardest, places where foreclosures are rising fast and affordability is vanishing. Number 10. Connecticut. Connecticut might look like a quiet little corner of New England with colonial charm and scenic autumns, but behind those postcard-perfect views is a brewing housing crisis that's got economists raising eyebrows. Let's talk numbers first. According to the Federal Reserve Bank, over 22% of mortgages in Connecticut are adjustable rate. That means thousands of homeowners are on loans that fluctuate with the interest rate. And guess what? Interest rates have soared past 7% in early 2025, meaning monthly payments are jumping hundreds of dollars. That's like suddenly finding out your rent doubled without a raise. But it gets trickier. Connecticut also has one of the highest foreclosure rates in the Northeast. In fact, Adams' foreclosure report puts Connecticut in the top 10 nationwide, with about 1 in every 1,300 housing units getting a foreclosure filing. And it's not just in cities. Smaller towns like Waterbury and New Britain are seeing rising defaults. Combine this with sky-high property taxes. Yep, in towns like Hartford and Bridgeport, property taxes can eat up over 4% of your home's value annually. And you've got a major affordability issue. Now toss in a stagnant job market. Unlike other states bouncing back with booming industries, Connecticut's job growth is slow and population growth is flat. Fewer jobs plus rising housing costs equals one thing: trouble. And we haven't even mentioned the weather. Coastal flooding risks are going up due to sea level rise, and that's pushing up home insurance premiums too. Some homeowners in flood-prone areas near New Haven are now paying $3,000 to $4,000 a year in insurance alone. So even though Connecticut isn't usually on the national radar for housing woes, the combination of rising rates, adjustable loans, high taxes, and slow economic growth makes it a sleeper state for a serious housing crunch. If you're house hunting here, tread carefully. It might be charming on the outside, but inside the pressure is building fast. Number 9. Michigan. Michigan is in the middle of a housing mess that feels like a ghost story come to life, literally. They call them zombie foreclosures, and it's exactly as creepy as it sounds. Across cities like Detroit and Flint, thousands of homeowners are packing up and leaving before their foreclosure process is even complete. Right now, Michigan has over 4,000 zombie homes, making it one of the top states in the nation for these abandoned properties. Imagine entire blocks where mail piles up, grass grows wild, and no one's home, not even the bank. So what's causing the exodus? Well, first, housing values in some parts of Michigan just haven't bounced back like the rest of the country. In 2025, the average home value in Detroit is still under $80,000, while national averages soar past $400,000. Add to that rising interest rates and job insecurity, especially in manufacturing-heavy areas like Saginaw, and you've got a formula for collapse. And don't forget the property taxes. Detroit's effective property tax rate is among the highest in the U.S., hovering around 2.83%, which stings when your income's not growing. But that's not the only problem. Michigan's housing inventory has been sliding, with builders pulling back due to inflation in material and labor costs. At the same time, the demand for rental properties is exploding, pushing average rent in cities like Ann Arbor to nearly $1,600 a month, pricing out middle-income residents who previously relied on stable mortgages. Meanwhile, young professionals are skipping the state altogether, leading to a population drain. Michigan's lost nearly 40,000 residents since 2020. And when you mix in weather factors like harsh winters and aging infrastructure, hello, frozen pipes and crumbling roads, the cost of maintaining a home gets even higher. Michigan might still offer affordable homes on paper, but the deeper story reveals a state where abandonment, instability, and economic stress are making homeownership riskier than ever. In 2025, Michigan's housing market isn't just unstable, it's in a slow-motion collapse that's catching too many people off guard. Number 8. Georgia. Georgia might look like it's booming from the outside, with cranes dotting the Atlanta skyline and suburbs stretching out for miles. But the truth is, that boom is dangerously close to a bust. The state is facing what experts call a growth crisis, where rapid development outpaces infrastructure, income, and affordability. In 2025, the average home price in Metro Atlanta has ballooned to over $420,000, up nearly 45% from 5 years ago. Meanwhile, median household income hasn't kept up, sitting around $71,000, which means a growing chunk of Georgians are simply priced out. And it's not just Atlanta. Cities like Savannah, Augusta, and Macon are seeing rapid gentrification. While that brings trendy cafes and fresh sidewalks, it also pushes out long-term residents. Evictions in Georgia are up 18% compared to 2023, and foreclosure filings have surged, especially in counties like Fulton and DeKalb. Even homeowners who've been in their houses for decades are now facing skyrocketing property taxes, some reporting increases of over 30% in just 2 years. Another red flag? Georgia's market is one of the least stable in the Southeast. The risk of home price drops of 5% or more in suburban areas like Henry County is growing. Overbuilding in fast-growing suburbs, coupled with interest rates over 7%, is making it harder to sell homes, especially newly constructed ones sitting empty for months. This imbalance between supply and real buying power could lead to a price correction soon. Meanwhile, rents are also soaring, hitting $1,850 per month on average in the Atlanta metro. For many, that's nearly half their monthly income, leaving little room for savings or emergencies. Add in insurance rate hikes due to increasing storm risk. Georgia's seen more intense weather lately, and suddenly, the Peach State doesn't look so sweet for homeowners. So while Georgia continues to shine on the outside, underneath, its housing market is heating up in all the wrong ways. If the state doesn't rein in development, improve affordability, and protect residents, that growth bubble might just burst. And when it does, it won't be pretty. Number 7. Nevada. Nevada's housing market is rolling the dice in 2025, and let's just say the odds aren't looking great. While the state thrived during the post-pandemic migration boom, with people fleeing California taxes for Las Vegas sunshine, it's now showing some serious signs of overheating. Home prices across Nevada shot up by nearly 50% between 2020 and 2023, but now they're starting to wobble. In cities like Henderson and North Las Vegas, property values have already dipped 3 to 5% in the past 6 months. Why? It's a classic case of too much, too fast. Overbuilding has left entire neighborhoods with half-empty developments. There are over 6,000 unsold new homes sitting on the market statewide. Combine that with a growing affordability crisis. Median household income in Nevada is just over $69,000, but the average home now costs $435,000. And you've got a massive mismatch. Rents aren't any kinder. In Las Vegas, average monthly rent has crossed $1,900, up from $1,250 just 5 years ago. But wage growth hasn't kept up, especially in hospitality and service sectors, which dominate the state's economy. And let's not forget climate challenges. Nevada ranks high for water scarcity and extreme heat days, making some desert developments less desirable than ever. On top of all that, investors who flooded the state during the real estate rush are now pulling out. Airbnb listings in Las Vegas are down 15%, and investor home purchases have dropped sharply, leaving behind a lot of stale inventory. Meanwhile, foreclosure rates are inching up, especially in areas that saw rapid speculative buying in 2021 and 2022. Nevada's housing market isn't crashing yet, but the foundation is cracking. With unsustainable growth, dropping demand, and economic uncertainty on the rise, the Silver State may soon find that its real estate jackpot has turned into a losing hand. Number 6. Arizona. Arizona's housing market is starting to feel like a mirage. Looks amazing from afar, but get closer and the cracks start showing. After years of red-hot growth, especially in Phoenix, 2025 is revealing a market that's losing its steam. From surging home prices to high interest rates and cooling demand, Arizona is now one of the most vulnerable states heading toward a housing correction. During the pandemic boom, Arizona saw home prices skyrocket by over 60%, making it one of the fastest rising markets in the U.S. In Phoenix, the median home price hit $470,000 by late 2024. But wages haven't kept pace. The average household income is only around $72,000 statewide. That means buying a house eats up over 40% of monthly income for many families, well beyond the affordability threshold. And here's the kicker. With mortgage rates now over 7%, monthly payments are hundreds of dollars higher than just a few years ago. Combine that with a rise in property taxes and insurance, especially in wildfire zones, and buyers are hitting the brakes. Homes that used to sell in a week are now sitting for over 45 days on the market. Meanwhile, builders went into overdrive during the boom. Areas around Mesa, Buckeye, and Surprise are loaded with new developments, but many are now half empty. Vacancy rates in new suburban communities have climbed to 18%, and some neighborhoods are beginning to resemble ghost towns. With that much inventory and fewer buyers, prices are slipping fast, dropping 7% year over year in some zip codes. And don't forget water issues. With ongoing drought conditions, Arizona is tightening regulations on new developments. Maricopa County already halted building permits in some areas due to groundwater shortages, which is scaring off future buyers. Arizona may still have sunsets and saguaros, but the housing market is anything but golden right now. It's a caution zone, not a crash yet. But if things don't stabilize, the mirage might fade fast. Number 5. Texas. Everything's bigger in Texas, including the housing boom. But in 2025, that boom is starting to wobble under its own weight. Texas has seen explosive growth in cities like Austin, Dallas, and Houston, but now the signs of a brewing housing crisis are flashing bright red. Overbuilding, inflated prices, and cooling buyer demand are creating a market that might just tip over. Take Austin, for example, once America's hottest housing market. From 2020 to 2022, home prices jumped nearly 65%, with the median hitting over $550,000. But in 2025, prices have started to fall, dipping 12% year over year, and inventory is stacking up fast. Homes that sold in bidding wars are now sitting unsold for 50-plus days. Some sellers are slashing prices by $40,000 or more just to get offers. It's not just Austin. In Dallas-Fort Worth, the number of active listings has jumped 25% from last year. Builders went big, maybe too big. Suburbs like Frisco, McKinney, and Prosper are seeing excess supply, especially in the new construction market. And with mortgage rates hovering near 7.2%, buyers are holding back. Even though Texas doesn't have state income tax, which helps affordability, rising property taxes and insurance premiums are eating into that advantage. In Harris County, annual property taxes can exceed $8,000 for mid-range homes. Add in homeowners' insurance hikes, especially in hail and flood-prone zones, and it's not exactly cheap anymore. Plus, many recent transplants from California and New York are realizing the Texas dream isn't always smooth. Infrastructure is struggling to keep up with growth, traffic is getting worse, and school districts are overcrowded. That's affecting buyer sentiment and pushing some back into renting. Ironically, rents are falling too, down 9% in Austin over the past year, which signals waning demand and possible investor pullback. Texas is still growing, yes, but the pace is catching up with the housing market. It's no longer bulletproof. In 2025, buyers and investors need to treat Texas not like a sure bet, but like a high-stakes game of poker. Play smart, or you might bust. Number 4. New York. New York, the city that never sleeps and a state that always costs a fortune. But in 2025, that fortune might come with a warning label. The New York housing market is cracking under the weight of unaffordability, rising rates, and an exodus of frustrated residents. While Manhattan still dazzles, it's the outer boroughs and upstate regions that are ringing the alarm bells. In places like Kings County, Brooklyn, and Richmond County, Staten Island, the cost of owning a home now consumes over 100% of average local wages. Yes, you read that right. That means even full-time workers literally can't afford the roof over their heads. Meanwhile, Manhattan's median condo price sits at a jaw-dropping $1.3 million, and even a studio can go for over $700,000. Now throw in interest rates above 7%, and monthly payments skyrocket. A $600,000 mortgage at today's rates means you're paying nearly $4,200 a month before taxes and insurance. Yikes. Not surprisingly, many buyers are retreating, and the market is cooling. Homes that once sold in a week are sitting for over 60 days, and price reductions are everywhere, from Buffalo to the Bronx. But the real kicker is population loss. Over 500,000 residents left New York State from 2020 to 2024, driven by cost of living, taxes, and remote work flexibility. That's drying up demand, especially upstate. Cities like Albany, Syracuse, and Rochester now have rising vacancy rates, with some neighborhoods seeing home values fall 10% year over year. Add in sky-high property taxes, up to $10,000 to $15,000 annually in the suburbs. And it's easy to see why both first-time buyers and retirees are fleeing the state. New York may still be iconic, but in 2025, it's becoming a tough place to buy and stay. Unless your budget has a comma and a cushion, it's wise to tread carefully. Number 3. Illinois. Illinois has a lot going for it. Chicago's skyline, beautiful lakefront towns, and some great universities. But when it comes to housing in 2025, things are heading in the wrong direction. High taxes, unemployment, and foreclosures are piling up like snow on a windy February morning in Chicago. Let's start with Cook County, home to Chicago. It's seeing foreclosure rates climb to over 1 in every 1,200 homes. In neighboring Kane County, delinquencies are rising even faster. Across the state, there's been a 16% jump in foreclosure filings in the past year. That's not just a number. It's thousands of families in crisis. So why is this happening? Well, Illinois has the second highest property tax rate in the U.S., averaging 2.27%. And in some counties, it's even higher. That means a $250,000 home could cost you nearly $6,000 per year in taxes alone, before you even get to the mortgage. Now layer on interest rates above 7%, inflation, and stagnant wages, and affordability becomes a serious challenge. Population trends are grim too. Illinois lost nearly 142,000 residents between 2020 and 2024, mostly middle-class families moving to cheaper, warmer states. That's weakening housing demand across suburbs and smaller cities like Peoria, Rockford, and Decatur. Meanwhile, the homes left behind are aging, many built pre-1960, and buyers aren't lining up for major fixer-uppers at high interest rates. Even in Chicago, once a real estate powerhouse, cracks are showing. Prices have plateaued, inventory is rising, and investor interest is fading fast. Some neighborhoods have seen price drops of 8 to 10%, especially in the condo market, where oversupply is a growing issue. The bottom line? Illinois is a state weighed down by financial burdens, and its housing market is paying the price. Without big changes, things could keep sliding, and fast. Number 2. Florida. Florida was the golden child of the housing boom. Everyone wanted a piece of the Sunshine State: remote workers, retirees, investors, even TikTok influencers. But in 2025, the sunshine is turning to storm clouds. High insurance costs, overdevelopment, and environmental threats are pushing Florida's housing market into dangerous territory. First, let's talk insurance. It's absolutely brutal. In flood-prone areas like Tampa, Naples, and Fort Lauderdale, homeowners are paying $5,000 to $9,000 a year in insurance premiums, and in some coastal zip codes, it's over $12,000. That's making homes unaffordable, even for folks who bought years ago. Insurance companies are also pulling out, making it harder to get coverage at all. Then there's overbuilding. In counties like Pasco and Polk, housing starts exploded from 2021 to 2023. Now, the demand can't keep up. Thousands of new homes sit empty, and builders are offering $25,000+ incentives to get people to bite. But with 30-year mortgage rates above 7%, many Floridians are just saying no thanks. And don't forget environmental risk. With hurricane season growing more intense and sea levels rising, FEMA has redrawn flood maps, putting millions of homes in high-risk zones. That's forcing residents to either pay more or leave. Coastal properties are seeing double-digit price drops, especially in parts of Cape Coral, Port Charlotte, and the Panhandle. Meanwhile, affordability is tanking. The median home price in Florida is now $415,000, but the median income is only $65,000. That's a dangerous gap. Many homeowners are now house poor, spending more than 40% of income on housing costs. And investors who bought vacation homes? They're trying to offload them fast, driving prices down further. Florida is still beautiful, but for many, the cost of paradise is becoming too steep. In 2025, this housing wave looks more like a crash than a cool breeze. Number 1. California. If there's one state where the housing crisis feels more like a full-blown disaster movie, it's California. In 2025, the Golden State is ground zero for everything going wrong in real estate. Insane home prices, unaffordability off the charts, rising interest rates, skyrocketing insurance premiums, and even wildfires threatening entire neighborhoods. It's beautiful, yes, but it's also teetering on the edge of a housing meltdown. Let's start with affordability, or the lack of it. The median home price in California now sits at a jaw-dropping $760,000, but the median household income is only $84,000. That's an affordability index nightmare. In cities like San Jose and San Francisco, average home prices are well over $1.2 million, and in Los Angeles, a tiny starter home still runs north of $850,000. At today's 7.3% mortgage rate, you're paying $5,000 plus a month just for the loan, not including taxes and insurance. And speaking of insurance, welcome to the wildfire zone. Homeowners in high-risk areas like Napa, Sonoma, and even parts of Orange County are seeing insurance rates spike by 80 to 120% over the past 2 years. Some major insurers have completely pulled out of the state, forcing residents into the expensive state-run FAIR plan, where premiums can be double or even triple the norm. On top of that, California is dealing with an exodus. From 2020 to 2024, over 800,000 residents left the state, moving to more affordable places like Texas, Arizona, and Florida. That's left behind a glut of luxury condos, especially in San Francisco and downtown Los Angeles, where vacancy rates have climbed to over 12%. Meanwhile, new construction hasn't stopped, which is adding even more inventory to a slowing market. And then there's rent. Yes, even renters are struggling. In cities like Oakland and Santa Monica, monthly rents are now $2,800 to $3,500, pricing out everyone from teachers to nurses. California still has the glam, the beaches, and the tech. But behind the palm trees is a crisis boiling over. If the housing market were a fault line, California's is trembling hard, and the next big shift might shake the whole nation.